and most people in town and in the Joshua Tree area know who I am. I would like to introduce Flower, who I met in Amboy while talking with some of the people there and doing a little bit of market research. Flower, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Flower. Most people know me as Flower from Facebook. I am a longtime Valley resident and with a high interest in, Route 66 and the high desert and background in, marketing, networking from the early days, not the high tech, fast paced days of today, but we're learning, and tourism and hospitality.
Awesome. Well, I think you are fantastic. I have an echo on my ear pod, so yes, forgive me. It's hard. This is my first time doing a live stream. So we just wanted to give some updates, some very special updates about our DI or VIP digital passport, our vinyl passport, and an upcoming community event. It's going to be a community wellness expo. Sorry, I forget which camera to go to here. Um, and we also have some great news regarding some other cool pop-up events that are coming. But for right now, what I want to do real quickly is introduce everyone on this live stream to our neighbors in Yucca Valley. I attended the State of the City address the other day, and I think that they did such a wonderful job with the Yucca Valley Film Festival. And that was produced by Matt Burrow, who is a great guy. He comes and helped us out in 29 Palms with the tourism stuff a few times, I believe. And he also used to work for the California Welcome Center. Now, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're all going to be talking about coming up soon as our tourism board begins to start the conversation of moving to a 5 year tourism board renewal. Now, this is something that people overwhelmingly rejected last year because there's a lot of people, including myself, who feel that we are not effectively meeting all of our goals and objectives. Now, I don't want to say anything that to be perceived as criticism of Brienne, who is the marketing director at the Visit 29 Visitor Center. Brienne is fantastic, and I've said this dozens of times at tourism board meetings over the last 5 years, but I don't see it reflected in any of the minutes, and I support her completely. The problem is we need a little more help and a little more direction, and she needs a little more staff. And I know people in 29 Palms don't know this, but there's actually another tourism board in, I should look at the camera, huh? Another tourism board in Yucca Valley. Now, it's not managed or governed by the city because they are not a member of a tourism board district. They are funded in part by not donations, by support from the city of Yucca Valley, or the town of Yucca Valley, I should say, and they get a very small $10,000 a month contribution from the county of San Bernardino, who takes in anywhere between 10 and 12 million dollars every year in tourism tax assessment. Now, I have been reaching out to Supervisor Don Rao's office for years regarding concerns I had at my former company regarding the way we approach tourism as a region. And I have been consistently ignored. My concerns have been minimized, and I have flat out been called unprofessional by Dawn Rao when she came out back in August. As Councilmember Octavia Scott, City Manager Stone James, both tourism marketing directors, and a couple of her interns and her chief of staff sat there along with her field representative, Glenn Harris, and Steve, her other part-time field rep. Now, I have nothing against her field rep, Glenn Harris, nor Steve. They are both wonderful, wonderful people. What I have a problem with is the fact that they are our only representatives and they both work part time. Supervisor Rao has a district that encompasses one of the largest areas in the country for a supervisor district at a county level. She admitted so in a podcast hosted by Gary and Cindy Digneau, or Gary Digneau, I'm sorry. And the link is on our website if you want to listen to it. In fact, if you go to our website at jtgca.org, there is a lot of information on there that you can click on the stakeholder info and dig in. I have all of the transient occupancy tax information explained. You can actually see detailed information as far as the county income has gone for 5 years back, which I had to do through Freedom of Information Act because I was not getting any answers from Supervisor Rao or her field staff. Now, they need to do a little more. And I have had talks with her staff, and I really want to work with them. But I still have a lot of other information requests that have been pending since August, and I find the delays on the response on this unacceptable. We need to look at things as a regional perspective. And I've been working with Visit Greater Palm Springs and the town of Yucca Valley, trying to have everyone look at things from a regional perspective. And Visit Greater Palm Springs has been more than forthcoming and helpful, and they have been to numerous events that we have thrown. Now, Supervisor Rao did send her field representative, Glenn Harris, to a tourism mixer that we hosted at Spaghetti Western. Spaghetti Western hosted us, and Jasmine and Lorenzo of that establishment are fantastic people. And Supervisor Rao's field rep basically said that I don't have any right to be representing the Joshua Tree area and speaking for them in Coachella Valley. And I want to make things perfectly clear. When I have represented people down here and the JTGCA concept, it is a new nonprofit which we are forming according to the law. There were some concerns he voiced about whether or not we are able to do so. And I assure you, per our legal counsel, everything is above ground, above the books. Everything is very transparent. So I understand he had great questions, because I would ask this of any organization. However, to be told we don't have the right to do it, or I don't have the right to do it, is unacceptable from any government employee or representative, elected or staff.
Okay.
As citizens of this country, this county, and these towns and cities, we have the right to question what goes on in our government, our tourism boards, and so forth. I spent 25 years in healthcare as a registered, well, 10 of those as a registered nurse, and 15 of those as administrative and tech. And I assure you that everything I am doing as far as bringing up concerns are primarily just because of equity and making sure we are getting our fair share of services and making sure we are spending these tourism tax dollars effectively. Right now, between Yucca Valley and 29 Palms, these two great, 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 great small towns with wonderful people, I have no complaints about anyone on our city staffs, our elected people, or our town managers. My concern with the boards that govern these two tourism boards are just the fact that they're not giving adequate oversight. And I'm not criticizing, they don't get paid, it's a volunteer position, I get that. So in any case, I don't want to ramble on for more. All of this information is on our website, but we are going to be holding a series of community events starting this Saturday. And we want people to become engaged, as the Tourism Board of 29 Palms is going to come to you asking to give the Tourism Board broad power to have a 5-year agreement to take the $400,000 a year that they receive and do their own thing with minimal reporting to the city. It is unacceptable. It is dangerous. I do not recommend it. We are doing a disservice to our residents if we do not give out the grant money more effectively and make sure we are working together with Yucca Valley, with the residents of Joshua Tree, the unincorporated, and we need to make the county step up to do more. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and put on a 7-minute video, which is the town of Yucca Valley's State of the City address, because I think it's important that we understand what's going on in our next town. Now, this weekend, I'm going to stream all three. I'm going to stream the County of Yucca Valley, the County of San Bernardino's State of the County address, which I attended in Ontario back in September, I believe. Then we will screen the Yucca Valley, or the 29 Palms State of the City video, and the Yucca Valley one again for anyone who wants to watch it. And we will be available to answer questions about how city services work, how tourism is working, and what we can do better. So for now, give me 1 second. Flower, do you want to chime in? You're a resident of Desert Hot Springs, but you've also worked closely with Visit Amboy and the folks along or Route 66, which there's some exciting stuff coming up with that. Can you go ahead and chat a little bit about that before I go ahead and cue up this next video, please?
Sure. So Route 66 is gearing up to turn 100 years old in the next year here. And so there's going to be a lot of celebrations and a lot of things going on out there. When it comes to tourism, it is a major way into our valley, and it's a way that's sometimes missed because it's in the middle of nowhere. But it's not in the middle of nowhere for much longer. There's things being built up all around. Wonder Valley has been built up, and there's things being built on the other side with this new train coming in. It is going to create another attraction and way for people to travel, which means that there's going to be more actual travelers again coming now that the roads will be a little bit less on that side. So the best gateway into the valley from that direction is Route 66 and then down Route 62 into, or Highway 62, into the Morongo Basin and 29 Palms, Joshua Tree, Yucca Valley areas. And that comes right down into the valley. Um, this area is forgotten about a lot when it comes to tourism. It's just not focused. It's not considered what tourism is, I guess, even though it handles so many travelers every year. Roy's gas station, the iconic Roy's gas station, which was saved by Mr. Albert Okura, is an amazing place to visit. It holds so much history. There's been music videos and movies there. We'll be there this weekend. And so if anyone wants to come out and join us and um, hang out in Amboy for the day and learn some of the other history and some of the other projects that we are creating to bring tourism from that area to this area to that area, and just open that gateway cities to be able to include all of the really cool old way of the world. Everything gets so new with invention, and I just believe that there's so much history and so much tourism here that we're missing in areas that don't get the notice, because all of the, I like to call them the big boys, always get the funding and the mentions, and there's just so much we're missing that is really key to community life and the people who live here and what they've represented and kept kind of sacred for all of these years.
No, and I completely agree. And I don't know, I'm echoing again, but um, I'm going to put together more on our visit and what we're going to be doing on the special surprise for this weekend. And we'll go live tomorrow at the same time, I think, because I need to get this tech stuff figured out because I think we're hung up on the Instagram end. But I really appreciate everything you're doing, Flower, for that area and for what you've done with us at our Village Fest booth. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow too when we can be
Thank you.
prepared. But I'm
And
going to queue up this.
if I might
Yes.
just add something into, so the city of Desert Hot Springs, the city of Desert Hot Springs, which was once a pushed out of the way kind of town that was forgotten about, but was actually responsible for employing most of the Coachella Valley for years, has grown up to be quite an amazing little city. It is the leader in spas. It is
Yes.
the leader in there's other things going on, but there's a big tourism here and there has been a focus on it. It is an opportunity zone for new businesses to be able to open and things like that. There's been multiple new businesses opened in the past couple of years. We've got a great city council that really cares about the way that the community is going. And I'm really excited to see the additions and the changes coming there as well.
And I can't agree more with you. We sponsored a table at the Desert Hot Springs State of the City address through the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce. And I don't think I've explained this to you yet, but our former city manager, Frank Lucchino, who we did a lot of work for as our prior company, we helped institute a good neighbor training program for vacation rentals when we were at an unprecedented demand where our vacation rentals went from under 200
Right.
to 500 nearly. We
And that was
developed that program
scary.
for city manager Lucchino. There were other people who also did a program, but then they quit because they realized it was hard work. Because it was not something it's not a monopoly. We did this at a risk to my former company because it was a lot of work, and people associated us with making a profit off of the city's regulation, which was not true because, and I knew that this would be a perception because people would think that, but we did not make money off of this program. We did it as a resource for the community, and we are going to be opening up that resource to the entire San Bernardino County, region for short-term rentals to make a free small condensed program of how to host responsibly, and kind of incorporate regulations and requirements into it. And we will offer another type of class as well if we are going to continue to do a certification program, and that's something we'll talk about later in the year. But back to Desert Hot Springs, and another person from Desert Hot Springs from 29 Palms is Travis Clark. He was our community development director for quite some time. Prior to that, he worked in Redlands, and he helped transform the Redlands downtown into an amazing, amazing, amazing place. And if you go
Yeah.
to Redlands
Oh, that
downtown,
place
there's
is
a great
beautiful.
visitor center who should be a model for both of our visitor centers. They are engaging, they are just amazing. They have partnered with a local pediatrics group who has put a whole back room in there for nursing mothers, children with autism, a quiet place for people traveling with families to have a safe space to go if they need to change a diaper or so forth. But that's thinking outside the box, and that's engaging, and that's community presence. And I have a background in healthcare, so I think that's very important. But I must say also in Desert Hot Springs, 3 or 4 of the council members and mayor pro tems have chatted with me about, what's going on in their town. And I know there's 2 newly elected council members who I think they're both great. And we had great discussions with them, as well as former council member Betts. And he was very candid. I think he understands vacation rentals, can be troublesome to neighborhoods. And I agree, because I see both sides of the issue. And I
Yeah.
always have. Vacation rentals are great. We only have 1,000 hotel rooms and 1,100 in the whole high desert, for Yucca Valley, through 29 Palms. And we host over 3 million visitors at Joshua Tree Park every year. And there's over 3,000 vacation rentals. And they basically um, are meeting the need to host visitors to the park, but the town of Yucca Valley and 29 Palms, they have done a tremendous job, stepping up regulation. Like in 29 Palms, we helped with the class, which helped reduce calls to the city for services or for non-compliance. I
Okay.
mean, it was there. These are numbers backed up by data,
Yeah.
and but the county, their response is, let's hire 5 new code enforcement officers and double the fines. That solves the problem. They don't even inspect these houses except for a drive-by occasionally. There's no interior inspections. There's no accountability, basically. And again,
Right.
I'm not blaming this on Supervisor Rao or her field staff or whatever. I just think the county is such a big, bulky, reactive beast. She talks about how the county is of a reactive nature, and I understand that. But at some point, it's time to say, let's try to be a little more proactive and come up with better solutions to manage these problems. So, anyways, I don't want to go too much into it because we're already at like 30 minutes on the 22 minutes. So let's watch the state of the county thing. We'll come back for a quick closing, and then we will do a better announcement tomorrow when we're more prepared and I understand the technical side of this. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to the most favorite politician, and I don't want to call him a politician because he doesn't seem like a politician, but he was the mayor. He's not the mayor anymore because the second, he's mayor. Now the mayor's Mayor Jeff Droz, who also works at Copper Mountain College. He's a great, great guy too. I think this is his second or third time as mayor, but also former mayor as of the end of a few weeks ago was former Mayor Lombardo, and he's just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We've talked a lot at Breakfast with the Mayor, which is a monthly breakfast they have in Yucca Valley, and he was so great to talk with at the film festival. So let's see if I can get the thing to work now, because I can't talk and chew gum at the same time. So let me go to the screen.
We thank you for taking the few moments to watch this video today.
Okay, give this a try, and I will add the CBP thing
Hope
is
you'll
not
stay and
live yet. I'm still working on that, but we're
participate in
going to
that.
announce
Thank
that
you for joining
And
us
we
this
do have
evening
Can you hear
audio.
the
for the
audio now?
2024
Yeah, we
State
have
of the
audio.
Town Address.
Okay, perfect.
As our friends, neighbors, colleagues, and business owners, we are grateful for your interest in the state of our town. This year's address was chosen to highlight some of the special characteristics and initiatives that define our town. From our focus on public safety to various projects and programs underway, you will get a taste of what drives us each and every day. For the next few minutes, I would like you to sit back and enjoy this brief video where we are able to share with you our recent activities and initiatives that help make Yucca Valley, our town, our home. So hit it. Hello, I'm Mayor Robert Lombardo. On behalf of the town of Yucca Valley, I'm excited to share with you the highlights of 2024 and our vision for the future. The annual State of the Town address is a valuable moment to celebrate our successes, learn from our experiences, and recognize the challenges ahead. Yucca Valley continues to draw new residents and tourists interested in the nature, history, and community of our town, and we are dedicated to preserving the unique values of our community. It's been a sincere pleasure to serve you for this past year, and I hope you'll join my fellow council members and I as we review some of our achievements.
We partner with San Bernardino County's professional agencies to provide high-quality public safety services for residents, visitors, and businesses. Yucca Valley was assigned a new resource officer for the 2024-25 school year. Deputy Alex Camacho assists school administrators and staff at the elementary, middle, and high schools to ensure the schools are safe learning environments for our students. Continuing a family tradition, Deputy Camacho is making a difference in our local schools. The Citizens on Patrol program remains key to creating a safe, family-friendly community by providing an engagement opportunity for citizens looking to promote safety in their communities. The town's Public Works Department continues to support our quality of life by maintaining and improving the town's 150 miles of roadways, many parks, playing fields, and public facilities. This fall, the town celebrated the groundbreaking of the Yucca Valley Aquatics and Recreation Center, representing a valuable investment in health and wellness opportunities for residents and surrounding communities.
I had dreams of having someday in Yucca Valley, having an indoor gym and an indoor aquatics center. That now is going to be a reality. There are kids today that are 7, 8, 9 years old that are going to dream big dreams with that facility. And the sky is the limit.
The town continued work on the Old Town Parking and Beautification Project, scheduled for completion in spring 2025. This will provide the area with parking, event space, restrooms, and electric vehicle charging stations. Thanks to the support of 3rd District Supervisor and Board Chair Don Rao, the town secured $1.6 million in county ARPA funds for a regional pickleball facility in Yucca Valley. We look forward to this engaging feature in the community. Yucca Valley moved into a new budget cycle, emphasizing investments in public safety, infrastructure, and quality of life, with over $15 million in funding dedicated to new infrastructure projects over the next 2 years. The town finished the 2023-24 fiscal year with exceptional financial results, leveraging its new investment program to retain $1.4 million in investment earnings. The town maintains healthy reserves to support local programs and services through the next 5-year period. The town also distributed a resident report about the impact of measures Y and Z, highlighting the many improvements funded by these measures, including hiring a sheriff safety specialist and additional detective, funding several park improvement projects, reducing sewer assessment costs, and more. We are pleased to report that both town measures passed overwhelmingly during the November election, with both Measure Y and Measure Z receiving over 82% support. The public's trust in the management, expenditure, and reporting of these revenue sources was demonstrated in their strong support, and we are grateful for their engagement and participation in the reauthorization effort. The Recreation Department hosted popular community events throughout 2024, including the Summer Music Festival, 4th of July Fireworks Spectacular, Yucca Valley Film Festival, holiday events, and more. They also expanded the lineup of enrichment classes, introducing pickleball activities and a new adaptive sports class. The town's senior center continues to be a lively location, offering social activities, wellness programs, advocacy resources, and senior meal programs. Phase 2 of the Senior Center Modernization Project is underway and will include ADA accessible restrooms, lobby updates, office updates, and path of travel improvements. The High Desert Nature Museum is celebrating its 60th anniversary this year, with a fresh look and talented staff providing engaging exhibits and events. We are grateful to have a facility dedicated to exploring the natural, artistic, and cultural heritage of the High Desert. This year, the town's public art program launched the Utility Box program, installing artwork at 6 prominent locations. The Infinite Connections sculpture was featured in front of the library, and the Summer Music Festival was adorned with images from local artists. Formal calls for art were released, including designs for town entrance signage. The Planning Commission worked diligently to address several policy topics to help keep the community running smoothly. We thank our planning commissioners for their dedicated work in the community. We'd like to extend a special thank you to outgoing members of our Parks, Recreation and Cultural Commission, Jerry Melby and Andrea Staley. Their input was invaluable to local leisure service and cultural offerings, senior services, and our community partners.
2024 welcomed exciting and ongoing opportunities for Yucca Valley, as seen in this brief snapshot. The voices of our residents are key to our success and efforts. We thank you for being engaged in our community. We celebrate Yucca Valley in 2024, and we look forward to the future. Well done, staff. That was really great. Thanks again to all our friends, neighbors, and colleagues for taking time to listen to our 2024 State of the Town event, proving that Yucca Valley really is our town, our home. Thank you again.
Okay, Flower, can you hear me? Or
Yeah, your audio is still good, and that was a nice video.
Yeah, they did a great job. We did
I
one
thought
too
so,
in
too.
29 Palms. I don't have it queued up, but like I said, we're gonna do all three. Now, the county has a 1 hour long state of the county video of the event, which I attended in Ontario. I know you and I have talked extensively. We watched it the other day when we were doing outreach in our Palm Springs office. But we're gonna have a little rebuttal to that and talk about it.
Or did we? Because we happen to be in the desert, so we don't really exist here. And so, did we really watch it?
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm really trying my best to not be critical of our supervisor, but I mean, and it's really, I just can't fathom it because she's from Yucca Valley. Well, she, has ties there, and that's where she started her political trip up the escalator as a planning commissioner, then to a council, then to now her second term as a county supervisor. And I'm sure after this, she's going to move on to a higher political office, as they all do, but, like I said, my frustration is not with her. It's not with her staff. They're wonderful people. But when you have two part-time staff and you've gone on a radio show and you talk about we're reactive, not proactive, and we have a county government center, which is I haven't even started with those information requests, but I toured it as part of networking business groups. I toured the jails. I toured the sheriff's operations there on the second floor and the first floor. That whole first floor, 60% of it sits empty. 6 days a week. And 1 day a week, we have land use services, which graces us with their presence for 6 hours of the day. And for the last 2 years after the pandemic, we have all that office space where any county employee, I'm sure, could do any county function because it's networked to the county. But yet they drove a bus from San Bernardino County. So that means paying a county staffer to drive a bus up to that parking lot from San Bernardino, which I verified with the director of that facility, to park it in the lot to issue birth certificates and do ARC, assessor, recorder, clerk functions for I think 6 hours a day, like the first and second day. I can't remember the day.
Yeah, I read about them moving to remote location.
But you can't get it any other day. It's just these 2 days a month.
Yeah,
and our area has grown exponentially during the pandemic, and property tax revenues were up over $1 billion. And I talked with the second in command of the numbers people, the controller at the county, and she's very helpful. And I spent 10 years, like I said, as a professional licensed nurse in critical care and emergency care, and I've worked with a lot of research and stuff. I know how to read data, numbers, statistics. And the fact that throughout this significant period of growth, when we were booming, when these short-term rentals were proliferating like hotcakes, they never increased services as far as land use services goes. As far as keeping up with, assessor, recorder, clerk, that whole thing after the pandemic. What I find ironic is after I posted a few negative comments about it on the county's website, then all of a sudden, now they've eliminated the bus, but they are actually opening up someone on the counter. Same thing, only twice a month. to provide
But
this
at least
basic
we've
service.
got it inside where it looks like it's a more permanent resource than something
Twice
that
a
was
month,
second thought about.
There's no reason, in a hospital. I'll tell you this: 20 years I've worked in hospitals and managed care and healthcare. I watched what happens, and you know what they did when they built our new patient care tower, which is now USC Arcadia. They made nurses, and they continue to do this. They cross train us to do different roles. Like my primary specialty is critical care, emergency care.
Yeah.
But then when they figured, well, since it's slow in the mornings in the emergency room, why don't we add this 20-bed procedural unit to the side? That way you could use it more rather than have it sit empty half the day. You could do the procedures like we did cardiac catheterizations, chemotherapy, infusions, all that kind of stuff. We could do that in the morning. And then when it starts to get busy in the ER, you can just open the door and let the overflow people go there, which it's great. It's great planning. It makes perfect sense. And I actually was on our steering, what they call, I don't know if they call it a steering committee, what we called it back then, but I was on the committee to actually test out that unit and see the flow. And my director put me in charge of becoming chemotherapy certified and then learn infusions. It wasn't my deal, but I did it. I learned, pre and post procedure recovery for cardiac catheterizations and stuff. And basically I became that resource to float between the two units. And I learned how to do multiple job roles. Don't tell me that a proactive person at the county can't train a person in land use services how to issue birth certificates. It's stupid. It's just ridiculous waste of government money. So that's the thing. It's like, I'm all for being fiscally conservative completely, but why are we just wasting? We have these great resources, great amount of resources there, but we're not using them. And then people like me, I'm not the only person that feels this way. I assure you. And when Mr. Harris showed up her field rep showed up to Spaghetti Western, one of the things when I said that people in Joshua Tree are not happy, he sat there and he looked at me and said, that's not true. We're hosting this group and everyone's happy. Okay.
Right.
I'll take a polygraph. I assure you that other people feel this way. So again, I'm not mad at him. He's just doing his job. He has a background, I believe, in art and music and entertainment. And I think someone said he was the personal assistant to Judge Judy, which is kind of cool. I'd love to chat with him personally about that. She's funny. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. That's what we need to tell Don Rao. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. There's got to be a better way to do things. And if you've got community members like myself, and I know there's tons of other people, the businesses are getting smart. There's a group of business owners in Yucca Valley who have gotten together, and now they're forming a business association similar to like what my company and all the merchants in downtown 29 Palms did, a few years ago. And then she flat out, she invited Ovier Alvarez and I, and he's the one who helped me really set up the Village Fest booth. Tremendous guy. He's a great guy. And we did a lot of work, we got that going, but they invited us and, they wanted us to feel welcome. And they said, yes, we agree, it's regional. But when Glenn Harris started this group, for the Joshua Tree businesses, and when Don Rao was out at that meeting, and at that meeting, he had to leave early because he had to go to the meeting he had set up trying to do what they're trying to do is a downtown district assessment similar to our TBID, but only involving the businesses. I can't speak for certain on that because I haven't been included in that, because she told me the Joshua Tree businesses would find that insensitive and it wouldn't be appropriate for someone from 29 Palms to be there.
It's a community. There's a lot of people in the community that aren't businesses that very much still have a voice and should get to make decisions on the
business owners at Joshua Tree. And again, I heard third hand that one of her representatives was making comments that I was trying to turn Joshua Tree into downtown 29 Palms, which I don't work for 29 Palms, never have. I'm a business owner. And when I ran a business that had, we had millions of dollars in payroll. We had, over 130 employees throughout the course of our time, and I lost millions of dollars when the market turned. And, unfortunately, so did a lot of my clients. People bought these houses at crazy values, would run them for 6 months and say, oh my God, I'm not making $1 million like the YouTubers say. And they would turn around and sell the house after we did all the work for no charge, took them out, and we absorbed all these losses. And that's what people don't understand. The abuse
that
and
forced
the,
a lot of community.
It
forced
took
a
me
lot
year
of
to recover
community
from
into
that.
homelessness.
And I get it. They're upset, but they don't understand our company lost money too. And, we're still in the process of a Chapter 7 and 13 reorganization to try to move forward. But I will never go into property management again, ever. But I will speak up for tourism in this area because we need to make sure it is done right and we do our resources. And that's what Visit Greater Palm Springs can do for us. And I'm just, while I'm sharing my screen, one last thing I'm going to tell people, because we're getting almost at the 45-minute mark. So I think, do I click this screen or what? Oh, this new tab. Oh man, hold on. Okay, remove. Sorry, let me try this again. Present. Share screen. Share screen. Okay. Okay. Can you see that flower?
Yes. And
Okay,
it
I want
sounds
people
like
to
you
know
also have audio.
you can go here on our website. We're going to be redoing. We're having a professional do our website. You know, we have no public funding at all. I've gone, you know, so we're doing this all out of pocket, out of expense, and I barely have enough money to pay for gas to get to Village Fest every week. But there's a lot of great information here. So if you go here to, this is important. We can talk about this real quick. Countywide vision. So I want to read like a few of these. So we want a county that has a vibrant economy with a skilled workforce that attracts employers who seize opportunities presented by the county's advantages and provide the jobs that get countywide prosperity. A sustainable system of high quality education, health, public safety, housing, recreation, retail, arts, culture, infrastructure, in which development complements national resources and environment. I mean, I can't read anymore because it's like, well, the last one, let's read that. From our valleys, across our mountains, and into our deserts, we envision a county that is a destination for visitors and a home for anyone seeking a sense of community and the best life has to offer. I mean, this is all a great vision, but I do not see these things happening here in here in our area. You know, so I mean, I just don't get it. But anyway, so back to here. You go stakeholder info. I want you to go to people. Could you go to this one? It's under Monforest Towns for now, because that's another thing. Watch this 3-minute video. We're running long. I'm going to have a whole separate thing on this. But if anyone who wants to understand how a region can work together, this is it. And this was actually presented to us by Amber Laird from National Park Service at one of the Joshua Tree Gateway Communities meetings organized by Representative Rouse, Field Rep Glenn Harris. But
Yes,
no one ever followed up
watch.
on it.
This
It's
is
a
an
great
amazing
concept.
watch. I suggest everybody who comes across this video to check this video out, especially if you want to make a difference and see how things can work for the greater good of our entire region.
It's amazing, you know, and I'm telling you, and I've talked to all of those people, and I've talked to the professors, the architects of the study, and I was going to go out there, but that's when something was going on when she had that meeting, and I wanted to stick around because, again, I wanted to make sure I was representing us here. So, but I will go out there. I will not go out there in the winter. I hate cold weather, and I want to go see it when there's trees and stuff. So, but anyways, read that in the model. So, and this here in the middle here, so you'll see on the left, this is a picture of Dawn Rao before, you know, when she used to follow our company. You know, and this is when we opened Freedom Plaza. This is the Downtown Business Association. That's myself with, you see Riley there when she was a little younger. And that's
Freedom Plaza, another amazing place people need to visit, which is why this is so important. Yes, there's so many national monuments and parks and just beautiful natural states of this desert that people really need to
yes, and we have,
see.
and that complex, it was over $30 million that went into it. It was a mix of grants and federal money and you know, there's some city resources, and it actually has a culinary kitchen, which it could be used, which is used by the Copper Mountain College, you know, and you know, that's like an opportunity. We could be having events here and incorporating more things for our college students to do to learn and provide an educational opportunity. But our visitor center in 29 Palms, out of that $400,000 a year, they're bringing roughly almost between 350 and 380, I think was the highest. There should be someone making sure that we have, you know, quality programming happening here, you know, every week, you know, to bring people, whether it's from, you know, even if it's just from Yucca Valley, to come over here and let's, you know, come to, we have a farmer's market. Roger Thomas and Sandy Thomas, they do a wonderful job producing our Saturday farmer's market.
Oh,
you know,
I know Roger. I know Roger.
And he
He
does
does a wonderful time down here now in Desert Hot Springs as well.
exactly. And they do a wonderful job, and you go on Facebook and you just see everyone complaining about it. It's like they provide a consistent quality service, and I understand he doesn't like to have two of every vendor, but I mean, if you really talk to them and get to know them, they're wonderful people. But again, that's a consistent program. That's the most important thing.
I'll tell you that the Palm Springs Village Fest, that's the motto that they've gone with for the past 30 some years, and it seems to work for them. Yeah.
And it's just before I get off the train of thought here. So that's Mike Usher in the middle. He is the owner of the Ground Squirrel, which is the restaurant and the building which we were next to it as the lobby. That's actually, we purchased that building as Desert Beacon, and that's why we're opening up the lobby now as a community space it's going to be the JTGCA workspace. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But in the middle there is Glenn Harris, who knows very well all the work we put into founding it. And I'll tell you, my community engagement person there, my former Anita, she did a wonderful job representing us. We hired her. She had applied for a job at a campground that we, were servicing at the time in Joshua Tree. And, she had a wonderful background in the semi-public sector and government relations. And we created a position for her. And, I can't remember how long she was with us, but for several years, roughly, I think. But anyways, but that was a staff position between her time, my time, other staff's time on community engagement. We spent over $300,000 or $400,000 as a private company, as Desert Beacon, to help engage, activities in all regions from Morongo Valley all the way out to Wonder Valley to Landers to Flamingo Heights, everywhere. I mean, we were out there at these community meetings, and we went to hundreds of community meetings trying to keep engagement going on. And it's frustrating to see that the county only contributed $10,000 a year to that type of activity when they're the ones taking in between 10 and 12 million in revenue off of this area, off TOT. And when Mr. Harris showed up to the mixer in Morongo Valley, when he saw the map that I have, and that map is in our agenda packet, which is on the media page, and I will post the map. We'll talk about the map. We'll have a whole episode on the map. But he's like, this is, you can't use that image. I'm like, it's a county map off the website. That's public property. And anyways, but when you look at the region and the all the TOT and stuff, I mean, that's why I get so frustrated, because it's just like, there's no reinvestment happening here. He's like, well, we spend it on roads, schools, this. And I'm like, no, because the roads in the unincorporated county are not maintained by the county. Highway 62 is maintained by Caltrans. Right. Schools, you do not spend on schools. Enrollment is declining heavily. And the schools are reimbursed per head. And now we don't have students because 60% of our housing is an Airbnb. And for those of you who haven't watched the video on our first page, it's all explained there. And if you click on the link at the end of the video, there's a 3.5-hour video that was produced in 2023 by Morongo Basin Conservation Association. And it was hosted in Yucca Valley at the Yucca Valley Community Center. And all of the key players in that video, plus a few others, came and talked. I highly recommend you watch that video. We are going to be the event announcement we were starting to talk about. We're going to have a little mini version of that, because we want to keep the conversation going. But I was invited to speak as a panelist at that follow-up video, but I was too busy because I had no staff and I had 30 houses to maintain to try to find somewhere to put these people and deal with it. I was working 25 hours a day and took no salary for the last 2 years because, like I said, we were doing our best to provide a service, but the service, costs way more than, we were just hit by the conditions. But anyways, I just want people to know this is here. It's under Montforest Towns Models. And this also has our top 5 for 2025. And that's something that we addressed at our first board meeting. And we're going to be having our second board meeting probably the second week of January. We will announce the date on our website soon. But I just want people to know all this information is here for the public. Anyone who wants it can read it. One other place I'd recommend is I haven't done much with this, but there's a few videos here on the vlogs and blogs. This is the opening of Freedom Plaza. It's great. This is a great thing here that PBS did. I don't know if you can see my mouse on this, but PBS, it's a great watch. And then there's a small blog post I did here when I first, started this initiative. And this is just, like I said, back in August. You can kind of read, they can read it if they want. And then just one last thing, transient occupancy taxes. So this page has it all laid out. Okay, and then if you're interested in looking at it, this is what we got from the Freedom of Information Act. And it will go through and it will highlight how much transient occupancy tax they took in by area, by town. So if you see a town, that's unincorporated area. So Yucca Valley here, so 9,000, 29 Palms, like 3,700. That would be because it would be from an probably like Desert Heights or an unincorporated area. But see, the thing is, like when she came out and was having this discussion with me, and when we met at her office, when all of the people were present, they were talking about why don't we have public bathrooms in Joshua Tree. And let me go to like a current one, because this is 20. These numbers are very stale. So let's go to the last one, which would be. Oops, sorry, not that one. Not that one. Here, okay. So 19,000 from Desert Heights, and 14,000 from unincorporated Yucca Valley and like Yucca Mesa. That would be okay. And then like say Joshua Tree should be 600. Yeah, 609,000. She's like, well, Joshua Tree, and her chief of staff Claire said, well, we can't afford to build a public bathroom in downtown Joshua Tree. We can't tell Joshua Tree what to be. And I agree. It's not my job. It's not your job. It's not her job to say what that community should be, or that small unincorporated patch in downtown. They need to speak for themselves, and I completely support that. But at the same time, you can't just have that attitude when you're an elected leader and not be a little more cognizant and proactive on giving those community members the resource and the ability to show them how to speak up and organize. So that's what they're now trying to do with the team type discussion. But again, I've talked to like 3 or 4 people, and I saw the original Yahoo email that someone had that came from Mr. Harris that had like 2 questions on the thing saying, what do you think businesses, what do you think is challenging to businesses in Joshua Tree, and what do you think can improve? It was just a basic thing. If you look in our board agenda packet, there's a copy of our regional tourism development impact survey that I've started working on as a model that I found from like what I read in the Mount Forest Town stuff. But that's something I asked her in August. I said, well, can you talk to the people at Redlands University? Because they actually have graduate level programs in ecotourism, I think, and that are focused on outdoor stuff. It would be a perfect research environment to have those people, because it's in her district, put together for their grad students who need their dissertations and stuff to come look at tourism up here, because 2 part-time field reps doesn't cut it. They don't understand the public, as a nurse and a public health provider for 25 years, I understand how all these things affect one another. Her staff, they're nice people, but they don't understand. I mean, her other one, Steve, he's great, but he has a background in, I believe he was a law enforcement officer. And that's great because he has that public facing knowledge. But at the same time, you need someone who understands, I'm not qualified to do this. You really need a doctorate level, urban planner and economic development person to really look at all of this, to put it in perspective.
But they have those people. They have them, and they're available, and there's projects that are waiting to be projected. So let's go.
$20,000 of this Joshua money and pay someone to actually give us a legitimate survey. But just one point I want to make before, because I know I go off on tracks because there's just so much.
Okay, and I just wanted to tell you, get your point, because I would like to tell you something before we close out here for the day.
Okay, let's close out. So 609,000. She's like, we can't afford that. But you go to the bottom on the last page here. Now, when on all of these, and this is a national problem. So you see Airbnb, $10.4 million of TOT was paid. Now, keep in mind, this is the entire county. So these data, it can't be drilled down because of the way Airbnb pays out, because it's an aggregate total. And this is how it happens all across the country. And this is an issue everywhere. So you basically have to you have to go down and take out all the places here that are not in her district or in the Morongo Basin. And then you figure out what percentage of it is. So it's 600,000. And it works out to roughly equal somewhere around the similar. We did the equation. And so basically it's not 600,000 Joshua Tree brings in, it's 1.2 million per year based on the current volume. And on top of that Joshua Tree is not just Joshua Tree. You got to figure the Wonder Valley info, other unincorporated areas that they may stay in Desert Heights, but that's like a county portion too. So it's a lot more money than it lets on. So there's money to do public improvement projects in this district. Don't tell me there's not, because there is. And this doesn't count even the public, the land use fees, the property tax fees. I mean, I'm working with, this is going as high up as the federal government, because it's going to be dealt with and it's going to be talked about, and I want it on paper. I want to see where the money went. I think it's a logical thing. So I'm going to close out there. We're going to have more discussions. We're going to keep this dialogue going. So I'll let you close it out, Flower.
First, I just wanted to say that I think that you do and have done an amazing job to try to include everything and everybody. And I just wanted to commend you on that. Like there's no anything left out from here to there. You cover everything very thoroughly, and you show up for other people and other organizations. And you've been doing this for a very long time. And so, the call to action is very much needed. It's there. That's the reason why this alliance was, incited and created. And so, yeah, to anybody else out there that wants to, see what the JTGCA is doing, we would love for you to please be included, include yourself, get excited, get to action, see how your city can join and improve. And we are a region together, and let's make it a great new adventure.
And I agree. And I thank you for all your help, and we have other people that help us start too, like Jacqueline with Mojave Threads, Ovier Alvarez, Councilmember Scott came and helped us at the booth, rather than have a county rep that says, why are you doing this? You don't need to do this. Maybe come down and spend a day with us and watch us talk to visitors and see what's going on. There's a whole lot more to be told, and I think if I had some public funding and a staff, I think we could do a lot more better with things, but right now my goal is showing up. That's how my company became the third largest in the whole entire region, Metro, Riverside, and San Bernardino County, according to AirDNA. We did the work. We showed up and we made presence, and that's all you have to do. That's 80% of the job. You show up, and then I would say 10% is listening. Even though you're big, you're running from thing to thing, you got to still take 5 minutes out to listen to people and see what it is that they need and so forth. And I had a great conversation with a couple of Palm Springs business owners. We'll talk about that later in the week, but subscribe to our YouTube channel, because this is going to be a routine programming event. We're still working it out, and I really appreciate this. And I think everyone is, there. We have a lot of resourceful people in this whole basin, and Coachella Valley has been wonderful. And I've got appointments lined up for the next 3 weeks with various cities and so forth down here, and other higher level leaders who want to help us out. So I hope that we can get some assistance from San Bernardino County. I really do. They need to do more. It's about right and wrong with me. And this, we have been wronged for years, and it's not right. And I'm not going to sit here and be demonized for trying to speak up on behalf of the county. And I just feel that's kind of what's going on. And just one last thing, I know I want to try to get off here because I got an appointment to go to, but one last thing, back to our website. How do I get back to that? Oh yeah, okay. I think
you would go to JTGCA.org.
JTGCA.org. It's all here. Just go to the media tab, and we're going to build a greater thing of media too. But everything in our first agenda packet is here. And actually, oh god, okay, no, okay. Share this tab instead. Let's see. Now it's downloading this whole 15 gigabyte thing. But if you click on it, it might not happen. There it is. Okay. So this was our press release. We're going to be having a news conference. We're going to announce the date probably on Wednesday. I got to get. I'm working with a few media outlets, but I think it's very important. And our whole first board meeting and discussion was on YouTube. It's for everyone to watch. Just pay attention to this regional tourism development survey. I've got some help coming with that. And, there was something else. Oh, I want people to really understand how Visit Greater Palm Springs works. You really need to look at how these cities form this tourism board, and their greater board. They have the Joint Powers Board, which is a government contract, a governmentally. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to explain that one. But then there's also the Convention Visitor Center layout type board. But it's a broad spectrum of people. It's hospitality owners, it's restaurants, it's transportation people, it's vacation rental owners, management companies. That's what we need. You can have, we can have as big a representation board as possible. We just have to do it, So, I'm getting the low battery thing on my Mac. So, but this whole packet is available for download. So please anyone do it. and then, you know, this is the map at the end that we can talk about. We're gonna have a whole session on that. Oh, and there's some development code. Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for Flower for joining us, and please come see us at the Village Fest booth on Friday. But we're gonna be we'll do another broadcast tomorrow at noon. So please subscribe to our channel. Have a great day, and I think for that, I think we're out. All right, have a great day. Bye bye.